welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaki and today I'm having my favourite books roasted. So you probably recognise this maybe if you've been watching my booktube channel a while. I used to film in here when I didn't have my own bookshelves because my sister was kind enough to let me borrow her shelves as I didn't have my own yet. I had to come back in here to film because my room is currently being redecorated and I can't access my bookshelves because all of my books are in bags and I don't think anyone wants to see me sit in front of bare bookshelves. So I have borrowed and fostered my sister's bookshelves once again to do a video for you. I think the original video was made by Emma Books. Somebody could have done it before her, but I think she was the person who created this, so I will leave her original video down below in the description box. But I thought I would do this because it doesn't really require any of my books personally. I don't have to show you any, I don't really have to have any with me. All I have to do is sit in front of my sister's bookshelves and let you roast my favourite books. So without further ado, here we bloody go. So I gave you a choice of some of my favourite books recently. Obviously there are some that I have missed. So I gave you Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han, which is the third book in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. I also gave you Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Bourne, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, Looking for Alaska by John Green, Scythe by Neil Shusterman, Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is the first book in the Infernal Devices series, The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the first book in the Illuminae Files series, Grace and Fury by Tracy Banghart. This is a series book as well. I can't remember the name of it though, I'm really sorry. So those are the books I gave you to roast, and let's get into the roasts. I have looked at them obviously, and they are some mean ones. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Sorry if the lighting in this video goes a bit weird, or I don't fix it in time, or it just goes weird. The sun's just being in a weird place because it is in the afternoon and it started to go down. So I'm gonna just carry on filming, just ignore the lighting. I have picked a really weird time to film this. Daisy Jones is a rip-off of Evelyn Hugo. Oh my god. I do think that they are similar, but I think that Evelyn was like less morally grey than Daisy Jones because obviously she self-destructs a lot. I do kind of understand Evelyn's situation a lot more than Daisy's because she was like drinking and doing drugs and, you know, just being a little old minx. But I guess I can understand Evelyn's situation a little bit more. I guess they are really similar, but in my mind they're different, so I'm gonna have to disagree. The description of Alaska, in Looking for Alaska that is low-key sexist. With this one, I do kind of agree. I can't really remember the specifics of Alaska being described. I have read the book 11 times and I should probably remember it, but I honestly don't. I don't really like pay attention to it because I feel like I just skip over the descriptions and make my own ones up. The only thing I can remember, because it has become a meme, about John Green describing Alaska is him saying that she had curves, that she was skinny, that she was slim, but had boobs. That's what I remember because it was a meme. The romance in Ready Player One is unhealthy and Wade is too obsessive and controlling. Whew! Piping hot tea. I agree with the part that Wade is obsessive and controlling, but I don't think I agree that the overall romance of Ready Player One is unhealthy. I do agree that he is way too obsessive way too quickly, and I think that's just kind of a portrayal of how young he is maybe and how obsessed he is with the internet, and because obviously she's a blogger or a streamer or whatever she is. I just think that that's more to do with him obsessing over like culture than a woman, but it can be seen as quite problematic. I do agree with you in that one. This one is like a proper roast. You DNF'd the book thief, but you like Looking for Alaska. Oh my god. Yes, I DNF'd the book thief because it just wasn't for me, and that is okay. I just don't like historical fiction, and coincidentally Looking for Alaska doesn't have any historical fiction in, so I'm gonna like it more, aren't I? So I'm not sure how to reply to these roasts. Roast you back? I don't fucking know. People only like Simon Versus because it's LGBTQ+. This is just wrong. I guess this is true in some sense, but it's not necessarily a roast. Yes, a lot of people enjoy it because it's LGBTQ+, and a lot of people read it because it's LGBTQ+, but I wouldn't say that people like it just because of that. It being LGBTQ+ is part of the reason why it got a lot of fandom and a lot of viewers, but I do think that it's a good thing that it's LGBTQ+, and that means a lot of people are reading it because a lot of people relate to it, and that's probably why it seems that way, that a lot of people are just reading it and like it because it is queer. Cassandra Clare needs to branch out, stop writing fan fiction for her own work, it's done. Oh my god, you guys are ruthless! And I couldn't disagree more. If Cassandra Clare wants to write 500 million books in the same series about the same world, I honestly will be here reading it and reading it and reading it up. I don't care what anyone else says about Cassandra Clare and writing fan fiction for her own world. And the fact that she's writing so much in the world and having fan fiction just shows how much that she likes it too. And I think that's a really good attribute to have as an author. I don't think it's a bad thing that she's written so many books in the same universe. Nobody said that about J.K. Rowling. Well, at the time they didn't. No one says that about Neil Schusterman or Rick Riordan. No one says that about anyone else but Cassandra Clare, and y'all just hate women. Next. I can't remember the exact roast for this, but all I've got written down is Hellly Born White Feminism. To be honest, I do agree with this one a little wee bit. All of her books are very white, in my opinion, and I think that's just because she doesn't want to get it wrong. You really show, like, creative talent when you write about something that you don't experience. And I do think that Holly Bourne needs to, like, write about other women as well. I can't really think of one Holly Bourne character that is black, and I can't think of a Holly Bourne character that is gay, neither. So I know that she's not doing it in a malicious way, but I do think that she does need to branch out, and it does come off as like white feminism from like the outside looking in. This one is about to get me to yeet you across the fucking world. Scythe is overrated. Are you mad? Are you taking the actual piss right now? Scythe, okay, maybe it does have some overhype for some people, but I personally think that Scythe has as much hype as it deserves, and it deserves even more. And if it wasn't for Scythe being overhyped or overrated or people talking about it a lot, I wouldn't know what it was, and I wouldn't have this favourite series, and I wouldn't have asked you to roast it. But still, moving on, Scythe is not overrated, and you should get your fucking thumb out your butt and read it. The Poet X, more like The Poet Next. Jokes, I can't roast any of these books, seriously. I have impeccable taste. You're welcome. Will Herondale is the worst Cassandra Clare character written, period. I kind of actually agree with this, and to be honest, that is the point of his character. He is supposed to be good and bad. He's supposed to be a character who pisses you off, but you love him anyway like a little brother, except not like a little brother because I fancy him and that'd be weird. I went to Emma Books' bookish meetup over the weekend, a few weekends ago, and we were arguing whether we were Team Jem or Team Will on the top of Primrose Hill. And one of the people that I met there was like, but Will is so complicated. And I deadass looked her in the face and said, complicated is my type. This roast just goes so fucking hard. I didn't really expect this to go this hard, to be honest. Ready Player One is forgettable due to the hard to get through endless boring references and bad writing. Okay, so I do agree that Ernest Cline, he could have wrote Ready Player One in a better way. As I said in one of my Reading Rush vlogs, because I did really read it for the Reading Rush, I do think that Ernest Cline info-dumped way too much, and I do think it was very slow and like block text. There wasn't a lot of dialogue to get through it, so I do think the writing isn't the best. But I wouldn't say it was bad. I think the world building was fucking amazing, and his descriptions of everything were amazing. However, when you say boring references, are they boring or do you just not get them? That's the question. The Wicked Deep Romance is the most trash, unnecessary romance I have ever read. Oh! Tea! Tea! To be honest, I don't remember the romance in The Wicked Deep that much, so it is unnecessary then if I've forgotten all about it. But I wouldn't say it was the most trash or the worst thing I'd ever read. I think it was predictable, kind of, and I feel like it would have been a better book overall if it had not had a romance in it, but that doesn't take away from the magic system, the atmosphere, how eerie it is, the characters, the sisters, the like undertones of witchiness. I just really love that book, and no one can like change my mind. I think the last three are all about Looking for Alaska, so let go. Looking for Alaska is one of those books I loved when I was 14, but would hate now due to it being full of the worst YA tropes. I always fear this when I reread Looking for Alaska. Am I gonna hate it all of a sudden? What is gonna happen this reread? And sometimes I do think going into it, I'm not gonna like it the same, but I think everyone goes through that with rereads, especially if their favourite books are like more than 10 years old and they start to like age badly. I do think it is full of tropes, but at the same time, I'm a sucker for it because of nostalgia. I don't think if I read it now, I would enjoy it as much as I did when I was, again, 14. So I think part of my love for Looking for Alaska is the nostalgia, but it is just good, in my opinion. So, bye. Looking for Alaska has no plot or urgency when it comes to the climax. Alaska is a John Green pixie manic dream girl that needs to be solved by the main character. I would argue that the manic pixie dream girl is Miles. He gets thrown into a river. I think, again, if I'd have read it now, I would definitely think this maybe, possibly, I don't want to say that because it's my favourite book of all time. I don't think she ever actually wants Miles to solve her or fix her. She is pretty, like, fucked up on her own. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, neither. I don't really think that this is 100% true, in my opinion. But, you know, you're entitled to your opinion, even if it's fucking wrong. Whatever, it's fine. But anyway, that was the end of you guys roasting my favourite books. I'm really sorry about the lighting in this video. It is going so fucking weird and I'm trying to fix it, but nothing seems to be working. Thank you so much for watching. If you roasted one of my favourite books, then shame on you, child. Shame on you. If you enjoyed it though, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. I make videos every time I can on the channel, honestly. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you the next time that I post. Bye!